of Professor Dakaz C.J. Dakaz, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, as chairman.
And on Good Morning Nigeria today, we shall discuss regional commissions and
to tackle zone-specific challenges and promote balanced growth.
Indeed, from infrastructure to conflict resolution, each commission is tasked with responding to the unique needs of the states they cover.
The commissions cut across the 6 geopolitical zones, including the newly established North Central and Southwest Commissions, with focus areas ranging from economic empowerment to environmental sustainability.
While the intention is to bridge gaps in development, questions remain on funding, accountability, and alignment with national plans.
Yes, this morning we will explore what these commissions mean for Nigeria's growth trajectory and whether they can deliver real impact.
And in part 2 of the program, we turn to Nigeria's energy sector as we unpack Dangote's fuel distribution strategy and what it could mean for consumers and the economy.
I'm Ademola Adeoye. Thank you for joining us on Good Morning Nigeria today.
And I'm Victor Azu. Let's begin with the news. And standing by with it is Stella Inamiti. Today's headlines, what's in it? Stella, good morning.
Good morning, Victor and Ademola. Here is the morning news. President Bola Tinubu has expressed belief that Nigeria's collaboration with St. Lucia and the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States will make remarkable difference in the history of the black race. The president visited the Sir Arthur Lewis Community College in Mount Fortune, St. Lucia, named after Sir Arthur Lewis, the 1979 Nobel laureate in economic sciences, highlighting the deep historical and cultural links between Africa and the Caribbean. The president reaffirmed Nigeria's commitment to Afrocentric policies and South-South cooperation.
Commitment to your motherland. You are not inferior to anybody. You are equal to everybody.
President Bola Tinubu has been honored with the highest national award in St. Lucia, Knight Commander of the Order of St. Lucia. Governor General of St. Lucia, Cyril Errol Charles, conferred the honor on President Tinubu for his role in establishment of a formal relations with his country and members of the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States.
To see that we can resume cultural exchanges and believe in economic development.
St. Lucia and the OECS, our heritage, part of our heritage lies in Africa, and we are proud of it. We want to develop it.
President Bola Tinubu says a functional capital city is the foundation upon which a functioning nation is built, noting that the ongoing infrastructure development across the Federal Capital Territory is a testament to his administration's commitment to building an inclusive and thriving Nigeria. Represented by Vice President Kashim Shettima, the president stated this when he inaugurated the Collector Road CN8 Asukwa Okonwe and other connecting roads in Dakibiu district in Abuja.
I believe that as a city, we could have such terrible, horrible roads. And to the Federal Council, by our support, this contract was awarded last year, September, and we flagged it up October last year.
Senate has confirmed the appointment of Professor Dakaz Dakaz, a senior advocate of Nigeria, as the chairman of the Nigeria Law Reform Commission, as requested by President Tinubu.
The appointments of the nominees satisfy the requirements of Section 2, subsection 1 and 2 of the Nigerian Law Reform Commission Act 2022 and the Senate Standing Orders of 2023.
We commend the President because most of the nominations that are coming before the Senate are suited for the governance of Nigeria.
The House of Representatives has asked the Federal Ministry of Finance to remit Nigeria's financial obligations to the Africa, Caribbean and Pacific group of states amounting to more than 1 million euros. This resolution was passed after a motion by Deputy Chief Whip Ayokunle Ishaka revealed that Nigeria is at risk of sanction from the international organization due to the non-remittance.
Reduce our access to critical development resources and partnerships.
This motion is referred to the Committees on Finance, National Planning, Interparliamentary, Debt and Loans Management for further legislative action.
In a significant step towards enhancing national and regional security, the National Counter-Terrorism Center, Office of the National Security Advisor, convened a high-level platform to review and validate the revised National Counter-Terrorism Strategy, NACTEST. The National Counter-Terrorism Center, in collaboration with the UN and EU, are conducting the exercise in Abuja.
Dynamic and ever-evolving nature of the security landscape, it has become increasingly clear that a comprehensive review and update of this strategy is long overdue. This is necessary to ensure it reflects emerging threats, the evolving tactics of terrorist organizations, and the invaluable lessons learned from our counter-terrorism operations over the years.
And those are the highlights of the news at this time. Good Morning Nigeria continues with Ademola and Victor after the commercial break. Please don't go away.
Have you heard the news? The federal government of Nigeria, through its direct benefit transfer program, has started the disbursement of 75,000 naira per household in 3 installments of 25,000, 25,000, 25,000 naira. Each recipient must have a validated national identification number, NIN, to receive the payment on behalf of their household members. To benefit, your household must be in the National Social Register of Poor and Vulnerable Households in Nigeria. The federal government's direct benefit transfer program is helping to reduce the effect of suffering while promoting financial and economic inclusion for the poor and vulnerable population in Nigeria.
Afambo Genika, Ebim Nagara Dimawa Village, Abuja, Nazo Afeba. So Esom Nandi register na NSR government register with my NIN. So government wears them ATM card. Njiwe wete 25,000 naira 3 times. And ega hayam keta barumuru na dem eji megoro makamihe. Jikweru mehendozo. Thank you.
This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and National Orientation, Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction, in collaboration with the National Social Investment Programs Agency, National Social Safety Net's Coordinating Office, and the National Cash Transfer Office.
Little body, big moves. Little brain, big learning. Your little child is eager to do big things. Every sachet comes with the nutrients they need every day. Made from natural grains, contains protein and fortified with iron to support their physical growth, learning and development. So you can fully enjoy your little one's big moments of growth.
Skincare for my underarms? Let's talk about it. Nivea Pearl and Beauty with pearl extract and avocado oil leaves my underarms soft and beautiful. I get care and 72-hour protection in one deal. Nivea Pearl and Beauty, the only skincare my underarms need. Skin is for having it all. Nivea is for skin.
A new edition of TV Guide is out, featuring an impeccable personality with purposeful leadership.
Abba Abubakar Aliu, MD, CEO of Rural Electrification Agency, takes us through the gamut of activities and mandates of Rural Electrification Agency, as well as its achievements and dreams.
I really want to see that I leave a lasting legacy that can be spoken of in a very long period of time.
Welcome to a world of fun and excitement as we also present an assemblage of professionals in the media space. Some compelling NTA programs, current trends in the fashion world, ICT, sports, entertainment, and lots more.
Meet Professor Charles Anosike, the Director General and Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian Meteorological Agency, as he shares his vision in repositioning NIMET as a key player in Nigeria's climate strategy.
Get a copy at the vendor near you or any NTA station nationwide. TV Guide, your indispensable companion.
The sport is very, very important to the special kid needs. Engaging in this kind of activities, moving the wheelchair with the strength, is a form of exercise to reduce that stiffness of the muscle. It makes them to be self-dependent, not depending. We should believe that there is ability in their disabilities.
The Nigeria Coat of Arms is the official seal that represents the authority of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, hung on the wall behind the seat of the principal officer of the government, supported by the portrait of the serving President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. It has 7 features. The black shield stands for Good Earth of Nigeria. The silver wavy band stands for the confluence of rivers Niger and Benue. The 2 white horses stands for dignity. The yellow flora is a common wildflower throughout Nigeria. The red eagle stands for strength. The wreath is in our national colors of green, white, green. The motto, unity and faith, peace and progress, is written on a beautiful yellow ribbon, and it's a maxim for all Nigerians. Be a real Nigerian.
At NTA Television College JOS, you will dive into exhilarating hands that will fuel your passion in education and propel your career to new heights. We don't just teach, we craft the next generation of media leaders. Explore our diverse offering, understanding the personnel matters and issues in the public service, basic development communication, financial reporting under IPSAS, and interpretation of public sector accounting standard IPSAS, audit, internal check and control management, video camera maintenance, new technologies, optics, fiber, IP technologies, automation, storage management, and wireless technology. Challenges and opportunities in the secretarial profession in the digital age. Digital marketing, basic drama, online reporting, understanding the provisions of the revised public service, audio engineering operations and maintenance, camera operations, and intermediate drama. Mark your calendar. The second quarter of 2025 is your launch pad. This is your moment to seize the future. Announcer Management.
The Nigerian national flag represents our country's history, culture, and identity. It was designed in 1959. The colors are Emerald Green 2.0, which represents agriculture, and Immaculate White represents unity and peace. Know how to handle our flag. Illuminate the environment or don't fly the flag overnight. Do not fly a dirty or tattered flag. Take such flag to the nearest National Orientation Agency office for proper disposal and replacement. The national flag can only be flown at half-mast on the directive of the federal government. The national flag must be flown at the same or higher height when displayed alongside other flags. Don't burn or allow the national flag to fall on the ground. Do not print, decorate, modify, or insert the coat of arms on the flag. Our national heroes are not buried with the flag. They are honored by presenting it to their next of kin during interment. Respect our national flag. Be a real Nigerian.
This message was brought to you by the National Orientation Agency, NOA.
Thanks for staying with us. You're still on to Good Morning Nigeria on the network service of the NTA. Up next on the program is Newspaper Review.
And we have Chukwudi Okoli Ubaja ready to flip us through the papers. Good morning.
How are you doing, Victor?
I'm all right.
Are you that weightless? I'm flipping you through the papers, eh?
Yes.
Demola, I think you're weightier than him. How are you doing, my dear?
I'm doing great.
Good to see you guys.
Don't just flip the papers, flip us through it. So,
yeah, Victor.
You want to start? Okay.
Oh, okay. Okay, I can start. I have the Daily Trust newspaper with me. And just below the nameplate, we have how can we transform livestock sector into modern business? The minister Details on page 28. Military kills 10 terrorists at Nigeria-Cameroon border. Details on page 10. Ahead of ADC's meeting today, Atiku woos PDP leaders to coalition. Details of that story can be found on page 3 and 4. INEC proposes fresh guidelines for review of election results. Details on page 6. Data buried in Saudi Arabia. There we have Dam Bokolo, the rise and fall of bandit warlord. Details on page 34. Lagos traditional ruler dethrones 6 chiefs for impersonating him at LP campaign. Details of that story can be found on page 13. Victor.
All right, now I have the Business NG here, and the lead story reads, commercial paper market booms, outperforms T-bills, bonds with 30% returns as investors pile in. Okay, cash in 270 days, firms ditch loans for CPs. Investor stampede pushes CP market to 7.2 trillion naira. And just above that, that headline, in that tiny red strip, University Staff Union slams FG over delayed salaries, threatens legal action. That one is on page 2. And further down the line, PDP regroups for 2027 comeback, says God of Politics is with us. All right, let's move on to the People's Daily. The People's Daily leads with the story, 800 elite special operations forces to fight insecurity. You can get details on page 5. And above it, FG delegation, Dangote, Tajuddin Dantata attend burial of late Dantata in Saudi Arabia. Details of that on page 10. And beside that, Atiku, Mark, Secondus, Tambuwal, others say PDP can't solve problems caused by APC. Seek alternative party. That's on page 20. And finally, just before we get to Chuku, the bill to establish Federal University of Education, AMPA, Kogi State passes second reading in Senate. That should excite Kogites, as they like to call themselves. Chukwudi.
I hear our time is short today, so quickly. PDP can't solve problems caused by APC. Can you see they're beginning to talk like 16 years of misrule again? They're all of the same mother. Don't be fooled, okay? It's just that some of them would come and show you more effectiveness in terms of meeting the yearnings of the people. That is when you know a developer, a builder of people. Otherwise, politicians wear the same garb all the time. I'm talking about PDP, really. I don't know. Atiku is wooing them to join the coalition to oust APC. That tells you that even though the Anyangu factor seems to have been settled, they're not quite there for the people to join the bandwagon and continue where they started.
They're probably leaving the party for him.
Victor, don't join the analysis. You kill it. You know, you were talking about livestock being turned into a modern business. You know, stereotyping does not help anyone. When you mention livestock in Nigeria, the first thing that jumps into people's minds is Fulani herdsmen. Fine, the herdsmen issue has to be settled. I liked how the army chief said the other time, you cross into another man's crops, that is not ethnic whatever, it is destruction of property. That is saying it the way it is. But if you try a little and move away from fixation, livestock will bring to this country the kind of foreign exchange you cannot imagine for one moment. So it is good for us to start thinking how to transform it into a modern business. How kind, for instance, are we to cows when we want them to march from Sokoto to Rivers? Come on, have a heart. The fact that God has asked us to consume them does not mean you're not going to be kind to animals. Were you a Boy Scout?
Brigade.
Boys Brigade. Okay, fine. So there are many ways we can modernize thinking concerning livestock and benefit this country. All we need to do is to learn to think positively. Don't see enmity everywhere. But that's not to say that rampaging herdsmen are being encouraged. No, not at all.
Is that that's the reason why the Ministry of Livestock was established in the first instance?
Yes.
To make life better.
Exactly.
And then there was that bilateral agreement with Brazil, to develop the sector.
That's wonderful. The rift will reduce. I wrote a piece on Facebook where, when I just received inspiration, I could write for 5 minutes. And I talked about raging hoofs and the love of beef. God forbid. Do you know that to cause a problem for herdsmen or for owners of cows, all you have to do is to boycott beef. That's the most effective. But we don't want that. What am I talking about? The people in the south who are complaining maybe more than some people who are suffering from herdsmen's menace. They consume beef more than even people in the north. So it's a symbiotic relationship. I'm supplying something you need. Go to the typical Mama Put. Mama Ngozi, that cow head will tell you, so there's a need already. What you now need to do is to find that thing that bonds you on a positive note. It can work out. But we have to drop our big egos wherever we are talking from. Very important.
Very important indeed. The military kills 10 terrorists at Nigeria-Cameroon border.
It's okay. It's beginning to sound like routine now to hear all that. Let's pray that it impacts the war against terrorism.
Indeed.
Let me just leave it that way, please.
All right, Chubodi, let's thank you very much for your time. We'll see you again tomorrow.
Oh, surely.
All right, have
as
a great
long as
day.
he lives.
Have a great day and a cup of coffee on your way out.
You too.
All right, we'll take a break now. When we return, the conversation will start. Stay with us.
From the Atlantic across the savannah to the Sahara, we rise, a land of the free, we know they tire. We dream great, our spirit is undying.
Resilient, rooted like palm tree, we sway in colors, with undying demand. We make solutions, we ignite passion, yeah. Each ethnicity is unique, we have more than just a mission.
We are Nigeria, strengthening unity. We know they carry lives. We are Nigeria, together live the dream of a land with great destiny. We are Nigeria.
I am the real Nigerian. Brought to you by the National Orientation Agency, NOA.
Skincare for my underarms? Let's talk about it. Nivea Pearl and Beauty with pearl extract and avocado oil leaves my underarms soft and beautiful. I get care and 72-hour protection in one deal. Nivea Pearl and Beauty, the only skincare my underarms need. Skin is for having it all. Nivea is for skin.
This girl and many more children like her will never forget today. They felt grit. They felt determination. They felt the power of sport. Throughout this year, 7.5 million children across Nigeria will feel the same power through Milo. But we won't stop there. Next year, we'll reach even more schools, more communities, and inspire more champions.
Hey
Hey Nigeria, ready to breathe cleaner air and save money? Let's talk about gas. Drive with CNG, the smart, cost-effective choice. Fill up for less and travel further. Save money, save the planet. Switch to LPG for cooking. It's cleaner, healthier, and better for environment. Say goodbye to smoke and eye problems. Do you know Nigeria is a gas nation ranked 9th globally with over 209 trillion cubic feet of gas reserve? Gas isn't just for cooking and driving. It powers industries too. Cleaner, cheaper, and more efficient. And the best part, conversion centers are popping up everywhere. It's never been easier to switch to gas. Join the cleaner energy revolution. Choose LPG for cooking and CNG for your vehicles. Clean energy for brighter future. This message is brought to you by the Office of the Honorable Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Gas, supported by the Nigeria Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, NMDPRA.
Mention a popular Nigerian childhood game of the 80s and 90s.
Police and thief. Playing rubber.
No be arm rubber.
Mommy and daddy.
Mommy and daddy. Survey says.
Hey. She loves to cook and I like to eat.
That's my boy.
I like to go out, but sometimes my pocket just tells me,
bruh,
go inside.
Don't be only you. Mention something you would do if you meet with a lion. Call for help. Help me. The lion, they carry me, go.
I like to watch football with him.
Nice.
Not Arsenal. They know they carry league.
Drop some bars.
All right. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want.
You did not even rap.
If you're happy and you know it, let me see your 32. Smile for me, baby. You know they give me attitude.
Felicity, they're here.
Pleased to announce encouraging news from the National Bureau of Statistics, which released the Consumer Price Index, the CPI, for April 2025 only yesterday. According to the report, the headline inflation rate for April stood at 23.71%, represents a decrease of 0.52% from the 24.23% recorded in March 2025. Similarly, month-on-month inflation dropped by a notable 2.04% from 3.90% in March to 1.86% in April. This, of course, did not just happen by chance. The President is focused and is determined, and his determination and his interventions are clearly paying off. The benefits of reform, though gradual, are real and measurable.
So this is Good Morning Nigeria on the network service of the NTA. To begin our conversation with borders on regional commissions and national development, here's a background report put together by our correspondent, Ibrahim Bello Gunda.
Regional commissions such as the Niger Delta, Northeast, Northwest, North Central, Southeast and Southwest Development Commissions play a vital role in national development by focusing on specific geographic areas and addressing unique challenges. These commissions aim to facilitate development, improve infrastructure, and promote economic empowerment in their respective regions, contributing to the overall national development goals. These plans aim to achieve sustainable and inclusive growth by unlocking the country's potential across various sectors. Regional commissions directly contribute to these national goals by addressing regional disparities and promoting specific development initiatives. However, the success of regional commissions is intertwined with the overall national development agenda, requiring strong collaboration between federal, state, and local governments, as well as private sector and civil society by working towards the broader national goals of economic growth, poverty reduction, and improved living standards. The 2025 budget allocates 1.57 trillion naira to these commissions. However, experts are concerned about issues of accountability, corruption, and duplication of mandate. How effective are the development commissions in meeting their mandate? How important is accountability in the discharge of their duties? And how can they improve economic growth, poverty reduction, and improve living standards of Nigerians among other mandates? These and more will set tune for discussion as our guests are already seated in the studio for the conversation.
Thank you very much, Ibrahim, for that background report. And now joining us for the conversation this morning on national development. Let me introduce let me introduce Chioma Nweze, a lawyer and senior special assistant, SSA, to the President on Community Engagement Southeast. Good morning, Chioma.
Thank you. Good morning.
All right.
We have also been joined for this conversation by Abdullahi Tanko Yakasai, Senior Special Assistant to the President on Community Engagement Northwest. A pleasure to welcome you to Good Morning.
Good morning, our viewers.
Go ahead.
All right.
You still have more.
So let
the Zoom.
Okay. I understand that some are joining us via Zoom. So let me introduce Abiodun Esiet, who is SSA to the President on Community Engagement North Central. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Nigeria. Thank you for having us.
I would have sworn that's a male. And then Gift John Bull, Senior Special Assistant to the President on Community Engagement South, also joins us via Zoom.
Thank you for having me this morning. Thank you for having us. Good morning, everyone.
All right, good morning. So let's kick-start our conversation this morning on regional commissions and national development. Let me start with Chioma now. When we talk about regional commissions and national development, what are we really looking at here? What role do the commissions actually play in promoting national development?
Thank you. The commissions were created by this present administration, like we all know, to be able to reintegrate our rural communities and also cascade down all the things that the federal government is doing to the rural society. The commission will act as a bridge between the federal government and the people. The things that the state government is not able to do, that is what the commission is supposed to do. So the commission is supposed to be a bridge between the people and the federal government. The commission is supposed to be, let's say, the first point of call for the people to be heard, to be seen, to make their complaints, and also for the things that the state governments cannot cater to. The commission will bridge the gap to cater to those things.
So in other words, the commission reach out to the rural communities.
Yes.
How do you engage the sub-nationals in this effort? Because you can't leave them out.
Yes, they work together. We all work, like my office. I'm the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Community Engagement for Southeast. We are 6, 1 person per zone. It was created by this present administration to also bridge the gap, because the presidency has noticed that there is always a gap between the federal government and the people. Like all the commissions under the federal government, we talk to them on a monthly basis, get their inputs, what they are doing in our communities, what they are doing in our states. Like in Southeast, we have 5, like Nelfond. Okay, Nelfond, I asked Nelfond, how much have you disbursed to date in Southeast? They've disbursed 1.876 billion to 21 institutions in the Southeast. So we have the record, the data of what is happening in our regions. We cascade it down to the communities. This is what is happening. We talk to the sub-nationals. This is where we need your help. This is what we need you to do. So the SSA to the presidents on community engagement and the development commissions work hand in hand to make sure that the presidency reaches down to the grassroots.
All right. Thank you very much, Chioma. Let me follow from the background that you have laid by asking Abdullahi, How easy, I know that these commissions are new. How have been the takeoff, particularly in your own area of the Northwest, takeoff of the commission, and what impact so far can you point to in terms of development?
Okay, thank you so much. Quite rightly, we have had 2 regional development commissions prior to the time of this administration of His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. We've already had the Southeast Development Commission and also the Northeast Development Commission. So, Mr. President...
Did we have Southeast? I don't think we had Southeast. We had Northeast and then NDDC.
Yes, NDDC. That's what I was trying to say, NDDC. So, Mr. President, in his magnanimity, thought of every region should have this development commission. So he created the Northwest Development Commission, the South-South Development Commission, the North-Central Development Commission, and the Southwest Development Commission. So all these development commissions just came on board. In fact, it was just last week that of Southwest Development Commission was sworn in by the Senate. The same thing with that of the North Central as well as the South-South Development Commission. So they've just started, and we feel, yes, the actual mandate for these development commissions is to, build on those socio-economic issues being faced by each region, and also to tackle specific needs of every region. So, like my own region, we have challenges that ranges from out-of-school children, the insecurity, infrastructural decay. They have the mandate to operate in all these sectors. So, like on the socio-economic, the out-of-school children is part of it, and primary health care to agriculture. So they have a lot to do, but they've just been constituted, and we feel once, for my origin, they just gotten an office in Kano State. That's where the headquarters is.
Oh, okay.
So they've secured office space. So it's just for them to now take off. And we believe once they get their disbursement, those socio-economic programs that are peculiar to that Northwest region will be tackled and handled properly.
Okay, they will be tackled and handled properly when they are well monitored. I believe that you have the criteria for the evaluation and monitoring of the performance of each of the commissions.
Yes.
All right. Okay, so okay, go ahead.
Basically, just like my colleague Barrister Chioma Nweze has said, we are the bridge between the federal government and the grassroots, the local communities. So we write reports to Mr. President on what is happening in each of these regions. And we feel that these development commissions, once they take off, all these areas highlighted are what will be their focus. And we will follow them, we'll work together with them in synergy so that we'll be writing a report, as we normally do, to Mr. President on their activities.
Okay.
This is more or less like we are the feedback to Mr. President, to the presidency, on the activities of each of these development commissions in each of the zones.
Okay.
So we are more or less like the feedback mechanism. We see what they do, we write a report on it, and then we also, whatever the people need to know, we disseminate those government programs at the grassroots so that people get informed, get aware of what is it they need to do in accessing federal government initiatives, federal government programs like the 11 social intervention programs of Mr. President. So that is part of the work we do, sensitization, town hall meetings, just to make sure people are informed of the benefits they can gain from federal government policies and programs.
Okay, thank you very much to ensure that you create the necessary awareness amongst the people at the local level. All right, thank you, Yakasai. Well, let's go to our Zoom guest. We have Abiodun Esiet, who is the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Community Engagement, North Central. Abiodun, I know, let's have your perspective on this discussion this morning. What are some of the successful initiatives or projects so far that you can point to at your own commission?
Okay, thank you very much for having us. And it's a work of development that we're having, the regional development. You know, there's a thin line between community engagement and community development. So that's why our office is working closely with all the commission so that they can kickstart their work by resharing the database of reports and community issues that we've been working on for the past 1 year. So for our region, the presidency and the federal government have done quite a whole lot in my region, North Central. From project land, we have some land projects, some road construction, Abuja Kaduna Road, we have Abuja Lokoja Road dualization, Kaba to Kogi as well, and Kaba to Okene. We're also working on Suleja Mina. And recently, based on our committee report on the Shandam Bridge in Jos, it has already been approved by the federal government that Shandam Bridge should be also constructed and renovated, and that has been approved. It's important for the community members to know not just about we sharing reports, but it's about the importance of our office. Most of this initiative of federal government that you've been seeing are based on the community impulses that we have gathered from the community. That's what we submit to the presidency and members of Federal Executive Council for them to adjust some of these policies and programs of the federal government. When we came on board, there was a removal of fuel subsidy. And the presidency asked us to go to our region to have a listening tour. After the listening tour, we documented our reports and impulses of the people concerning what the economic situation they are facing and what support they needed from federal government. And based on some of our reports, you could see some of more dedicated reports, more dedicated intervention in terms of now economic intervention. We have Consumer Credit Corporation for over 20 billion has been dropped on that to address the issue about the economic hardship, especially due to fuel subsidy. The student loan, there are about 6,000 plus disbursements in North Central region for school. Then the minimum wage approval, is a joint effort based on the trade union and based on the committee report that we submitted that people cannot survive with the salaries they are currently having. And we proposed to the federal government to look into the minimum wage and based on trade unions and also support, and that was approved. Removal of tariff on import duties on drug. Based on some of our committee report that we submitted as well, we discovered that the prices of drugs has gone up, the prices of foodstuff have gone up, and that's why, federal government is also intervening by removing tariff from all these things, from food, pharmaceutical, and the national cash transfer. Fortunately, the presidential committee engagement team were part of the committee that was managing the national cash transfer at initial stage with the Minister for Finance, and we submitted a report as well on the list of the vulnerable people in our various community, and we make sure that their database were captured in the National Social Register and payment has been done. One of the important things that, Nigerians don't know that, for you having a name, it's even a privilege. So we encourage that, Nigerians also should have name, especially the most vulnerable people, because that's the power too. And we also encourage, based on our reports, that anything federal government is doing, they should make sure that the criteria they're giving out for people is something that creates an equal environment, not a disadvantage. When you're asking people, you have to have CAC, you have to have a registered thing. Most Nigerians may not have those things. And based on our own intervention with the communities, we relate with the federal government agency to review some of the criteria that they have set aside for members of the community or members of citizens in Nigeria to benefit from. And based on, and that has been very helpful. Then, you have the 6 cancer centers being set up across the region. One is also in my region. Housing also issue has been addressed. Then the new tax bill was also part of our feedback gathered from the community that, most people living or salary lower than 1 million won't be able to pay tax. And because of the new economic issue, we submitted and that was also under review and part of the privileges or the things that the federal government is addressing. So for now, we also have 2,000 affordable housing in FCT. unit that's under construction. That the insecurity issue is one of the top priorities in the North Central, which at the last visit of Mr. President in Benue, was given a watching order for the security agency to make sure that they arrest criminals that are perpetrating violence in different regions. And based on our reports, and that's why you see Mr. President visiting Benue and some other regions, giving a watch order to other security agents to make sure that they restore calm and peace in most of our farms. You know, North Central is the food basket of this country, and we cannot, most of our farmers who can't go to their farm based on the insecurity are now rest assured that based on the presidential order, that there will be calmness in their region, and most of the security agents have been deployed to different different regions, different communities, and different farms. Now, the Forest Guard is also one of the initiatives that has been developed based on the report of the committee engagement to the members of Federal Executive Council on the need for our forests to be guarded. And now, with the approval of Mr. President for us to have Forest Guard, we know that our forest is being secured. The perpetrators in different forests, for instance, we're getting reports from Yaba West in Kogi State. Kogi West is having some insecurity report, and which has been submitted to top security agency for them
Abiodun Essien, thank you very much for the elaborate initial contribution. We'll get back to you, but let me quickly get to Gift Jumbo, who is a Senior Special Assistant South. And I'm wondering, Gift, what you have found to be the priorities of the South in terms of development, and how the federal government is managing expectations, particularly, you know, resource control is a very big issue for the South. You also talk about environmental issues. How are these being addressed?
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much again. And I want to say a big well done again to my colleagues. They have spoken really vast. And first, the South region is known to be the oil and gas zone of the country. But before I even go further on this conversation, I actually want to thank Mr. President for this wonderful creation of the regional development. I see it as a tailored, fit project development driver. It's like a proper structure has been done so that we can now start putting progressive blocks layer by layer to make Nigeria the country that we dream of. Yeah, so the South region is very peculiar. We have enormous resources, but you know, when the president started his administration, he said it's time to diversify the economy beyond oil and gas, right? And we are actually looking at agriculture. So trust me when I say the South region of Nigeria is actually agriculture friendly, and they are welcoming huge mechanization of agriculture. We're ready to diversify our economy beyond oil and gas. So back to the question you're asking, what the environmental challenges in the South region. Yes, it's been quite challenging, but you see, with policies like what the president is actually dishing out in this administration right now, a lot of wrongs have been corrected, and we are making progress. Let's talk about one challenge that was really a major one, the East-West Road. That was a very serious issue at the time. But you have to go there right now. You will be amazed at the level and the state of that road. I think that is the true picture of what the Renewed Hope agenda is about. The South, we have enormous amount of rainfall, so our roads are not usually, you know, like you will see in the northern part of Nigeria. It's not firm soil. I know the engineers have a better terminology for that, you know, but as a community person, what we see is that the roads are not good because of certain environmental issues, topography of our soil, climate and weather conditions. But right now, with the invention of the concrete pavement road that the Ministry of Work is doing, I think that particular development problem is being handled. We're having more stable road, and it's going to be durable thanks to the Renewed Hope agenda, the Renewed Hope administration. Also, the other development issues that we've had, so many of them. For instance, a lot of, like I said earlier, a lot of persons do not even know that the South can actually be a massive region for agriculture. But thanks to the regional development now, they can actually carry like a microscope and see part time, address it, layer, because they see and relate to the community the closest, so they can see issues that are a major development concern in the regions and address it. Livelihood improvement is not different from first awareness, and you can't get awareness without closeness to the people, right? So it's not like now somebody is in the presidency or far away in Abuja, not knowing what is happening in Odukpani or what is happening in Okweka village in in Delta State, or what is happening in Eleme, right? So government is being brought closer to the people, and that is the true beginning of development. Government being closer to the people, and that is how the Renewed Hope administration is addressing our challenges of resources and environmental degradation.
Thank you very much. Let me stay with you for a moment. What engagement model are you deploying so as to balance the needs of communities with what government is doing, is able to provide at the moment?
Sorry, I didn't get that question.
Engagement model are you using to be able to balance the needs of communities in the South against what government is able to provide?
Okay, so if I heard you clearly, you're asking what is my engagement model to bridge the gap? Is that your question?
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay, so the beautiful thing with community engagement is that you have to be there. So as community engagers, we are the president's outstretched hand in our region. We go with our two legs to these communities, and we also find ways to relate with these people and different stakeholders, structure by structure, layers by layers. And there's nothing more interesting than actually hearing from the people living in these communities. And then we can now relate it back to policy makers and different arms of government and development partners that does implementation. So we do what the people want part time. So our community engagement model is ensuring that that bridge, that constant communication between the presidency and the local communities is actually actualized. Before now, I went to a particular village. It's called Itaka in Etung local government in Cross River State. And these people were shocked, and they're like, it's not election time. Why? What's happening here? This is the first time they're actually feeling the physical presence of governance, when it's not election season. And we were able to get, direct feedback from them, engage them, spoke with their leaders, their women leaders, their youth leaders, had a town hall meeting, and understand firsthand what their challenges are. So it's not like they're looking for a labor saving device to improve their agriculture, smallholder agricultural scheme, and then we're coming with something else that they do not need at a particular time. So priorities are being tailored appropriately by physically engaging them or finding ways to constantly engage their representatives. And it's amazing what can happen when you constantly communicate with the smallest units of a community, the smallest unit of the nation, which we'll call the community, just like a cell, right? This is the driving force of the entire nation. Handling it bit by bit, whether by physical appearance, talking to the relevant stakeholders per community, engaging their leaders, and ensuring we marry their marry development to their current need. So our model is back-to-back engagement, physical representation in these communities, visits, town hall, stakeholder engagement, and even the beautiful part is that we also ensure, as community engagement representative of the president, we also ensure that these feedbacks we get from these communities, we act on them. You know, we communicate it to the relevant ministries, the relevant agencies, MDAs, development partners. We literally marry the needs of the communities and the solutions and where they are, and that's our model of community engagement in our respective regions.
Okay, thank you very much, Gift, for letting us know the model of your engagement with the various communities that you are in charge. Because that is what governance is all about. Now let's come back to the studio now. Barrister Chioma, some of the challenges that people face, especially at the local community, is the issue of poverty, the issue of inequality, and lack of adequate infrastructure. And I know that in Southeast is also a major challenge there. So how do you see the role the regional commission is playing at addressing some of these issues?
The Regional Development Commission in Southeast is being headed by Mr. Mark Okoye, and he has hit the ground running. He has done a stakeholders engagement to get the feedback from different segments of society. He also knows the areas where, let's say, he's a Southeasterner, so he's wearing the shoe and he knows where he's pinching us. Like in Anambra, they have a lot of erosion problem. You won't believe it. In fact, their soil is so, I don't know why they have that that kind of problem. So he has also looked into it. The state government, Governor Soludo, is not resting on his oars. He's also working. With the last time we went to Anambra, he has done a lot of routes. In fact, he has built a complete new secretariat, and he has established a fund for Anambarians. You know, we in the Southeast, we are used to trading and working with our hands, with artisans. He said Millionaire Club. So he's training people. He's also getting people to start trading. The same thing with Ebonyi, the same thing with Abia, the same thing with Imo, and the same thing with Enugu. All our governors are hands-on. They are people that have grown from the community and they know the needs of the communities. So they have been able to work very well with the communities. Like in my state, I'm from Ebonyi State. My governor has been getting back people, Ebonyi people that are on the streets, back to the states to try and do something with their hands. And he has given them grants to start trading, so they can leave the street and do something with their hands. This helps with the poverty at the lowest level. He has also, our state governors have also imbibed in agriculture. Okay. And this agriculture, mechanized agriculture, is also helping. Apart from the institutions we have at the federal level that are involved in agriculture, like NALDA and the Federal Ministry of Agric, the state governors are also helping to provide implements and to provide free seedlings to enable people plant and to enable people go to work at the lower level. In the case of infrastructure, we want to thank the president for putting an engineer in the Ministry of Work. Of course, somebody from the Southeast. He has turned the infrastructure in Nigeria. In fact, he makes sure that each region is adequately developed. Okay. He has road projects going on in each region. In Enugu, for instance, there was one bridge, Artisan Bridge, that fell overnight. When the governor called him, in fact, the last commissioning the president did last month, it was among the projects that were being commissioned. That's the first in this country. Before, in this country, we used to use like 6 years to build a bridge. We used 17 years to build a road. Before the road is being commissioned, the first part of the road has already spoiled. But we are seeing new innovations being brought by the Renewed Hope agenda to be able to tackle our infrastructure deficit and to also put money in the economy to alleviate poverty. We are not saying that we won't have poor people among us, but we are trying very hard to make sure that these people that among us are able to grow. Like myself now, my program under my office, I started Skill Up Southeast. We have 95 communities in the Southeast. I picked one person from each Southeast community to teach them how to sew.
How do you pick these people? Do you collaborate with the state agencies there, or the traditional rulers and all that? How do you pick them? You just go there and just pick?
No,
what are the model, just like,
I use the traditional rulers. I didn't want to use the state government. I didn't want them to give me bourgeois as I wanted people that did not have to have an opportunity to learn, because I promised to give them startup packages, including sewing machine, to start them up, so that I didn't want maybe a commissioner's friend or a governor's friend. I wanted the community to say, yes, this person has been trying to learn how to trade or has been out of school for some time and there is no work. So that was how I picked people. I have liaison officers in each community. I picked 95 people from the communities in the Southeast. They're in a training school in Ebonyi State. At the end of the training, we're going to give them sewing machines to be able to start. After that phase of training, I intend to do another training of artisans, people that can plaster things. We want to encourage our people so that they can start doing things with their hands. So even when the white-collar jobs are not there, you can do things. In fact, in most developed countries, some developed countries, people that work, laborers, plumbers, artisans, and everything, are very expensive. In fact, they give you time. I know I'm not available from so and so. You find out that, and these are the jobs that we look down on in our own country. So I'm trying to say, Southeastern people, let's sit up. We are known for working with our hands. Let's sit up and go back and imbibe what we are known for, so that we can help ourselves, even as much as government is trying to help us. Okay.
We just want to inform our viewers that you can also, contribute to this conversation. We have phone lines displayed on your screen. You can send us SMS, and you can send us WhatsApp messages as well. All right, Victor.
Yeah, I wanted to engage Abdullahi. Now, the Northwest, which you represent and cover, has become a hotbed of banditry as we speak. And I'm wondering how you are engaging, as part of your functions, the youth in that environment to be able to dissuade them from, such criminal activities.
Okay. Quite all right, the challenges of insecurity in the Northwest has prevailed for so long, but with the advent of the administration of His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu, we won't say it has been eliminated, but those bandits, those insurgents have really been degraded. The National Security Advisor, Malam Nuru Badu, and the security architecture, that's the Chief of Defense Staff, the service chiefs, they're doing a whole lot. I can tell you with confidence that I don't go by train or fly to Kano if I'm going to Kaduna. I hit the road. Even this weekend, I will be traveling to Kano. I'm going to hit the road. So that's to tell you that there's a lot of improvement. Before, you can never dare try go from Abuja to Kaduna. But that has improved a lot. Just last weekend, I was in Katsina State for a town hall meeting. Coming back to your question. I was in Katsina State for a town hall meeting with the religious leaders and the youth. The theme of that engagement was youth and leadership. So we brought the ulamas, the malams, the imams, together with the local leaders there. We had a robust discussion on how this youth can be engaged. One of the problems we're having with this insecurity is the lack of education for our young children. It is very disheartening to see children in herds, like 150 out-of-school children roaming the streets. And if they're not educated, ultimately some people can sway them and then give them arms and they become bandits or insurgents. So basically the fundamental thing is to get these children educated. And one of the things I've been doing in my office is at every session, so far since our appointment in the last 2 years, I have made sure that we have enrolled 2,000 students in the Northwest. We have 168 local governments across the 7 states of the Northwest. That's between Kano, Kaduna, Jigawa, Kebbi, Sokoto, Zamfara, and Katsina. So, and one of the challenge is those boys, because you wonder how these young ones of 3, 4, 5 years, you see them on the streets. By the time they get to teenage age, the time they're supposed to have something doing, they are not educated, they are not practicing any artisan job. So, I mean, you're just exposing them to the ills of the society. So I think we have put in 2,000 children in schools, these young ones, to educate them. We are going to be doing this at every session, just like now. We have the uniform. What we do is we give them uniforms, we enroll them, and we give them exercise books. We can't give everybody the whole exercise books, but we give them 2 exercise books. That is 1 for mathematics, 1 for English. So long as the child can get that, can speak English very well, I read, I write English very well, then he can be able to learn the other subjects. And with the mathematics, that alone can help in, aiding them to, boost their capacity. So by and large, one of the things I want to mention is, I'm happy Mr. President just recently has harmonized the controversial issue of the disparity between HND and BSc. Now that has been harmonized. So just like my colleague was saying, all these artisan jobs, when I was young, when I was in secondary school, science secondary school, Dohakin Kudu, and technical school, Kano, I can do carpentry. I know how to use jacksaw, I know how to use, we did metal works. I know how to do iron bending. You must have, for every time, you must have a portion to farm. If you do lettuce this time, next time you do tomatoes, perishables. So these vocational training schools, I think the federal government, the states, and now with the coming of the local government autonomy, I think all these 3 tiers of government need to work together to make sure that at every local government we have a massive and gigantic vocational training center, so that we can be able to make these young ones to become artisans. By such, we're making them become self-reliant. So a lot of programs have gone in the Northwest, especially the infrastructure that was being mentioned. His Excellency Dave Umahi is doing a wonderful job, because we've gone severally with him in the Northwest. We've gone to inspect the super highway, that is the Sokoto-Badagry highway. This cuts across several states, from Ilela to, that is in Kebbi State. That work is ongoing, and Mr. President, according to the Honorable Minister, Mr. President has directed that work should continue simultaneously in all the segments. So there's work going on in Ilela to Sokoto. From Sokoto, work has already commenced, and I'm sure very soon you hear that Mr. President is going to commission part of that road that has been developed, just like the coastal highway, that some part of it was commissioned in Lagos. We were all there, and even so many other important roads that have been neglected in the past. Just like my colleague was saying, 70 years, you see a road 70 years. There's a road I know that has been ongoing since the time of Obasanjo. Kano to Maiduguri. How come? How can Nigeria be, we should be doing the right thing. So now, Ministry of Works is working from Sokoto to Zamfara. We've gone there with the Honorable Minister too. He stands on his feet, he uses his tape, he doesn't just sit in his car and watch what is going on. He walks down, and with his engineers, the controllers in those states, with the construction companies, we go there, we as community engagement, we follow him on his trips, and we see what they're doing. The Sokoto to Zamfara to Zaria is a very, very important road in that axis. That road is ongoing. Just like I said, the Ilela to Badagry is ongoing.
Anyway.
And then on agriculture, let me come to agriculture, because that is the agricultural hub of the country, the Northwest, because of the massive land mass. During the last dry season, federal government has cultivated 118,000 hectares. And out of that, Jigawa alone in the Northwest has cultivated 40,000 land mass. So a lot is being done in agriculture to have food security, because yes, people are really hungry, but the government is doing a lot.
Okay.
If you look at just recently, last month, Mr. President commissioned 2,000 trucks and other mechanized agricultural equipment. This has never been done in this country, and we must commend Mr. President for that.
All right. A lot is being done in agriculture and also in infrastructure, but more still need to be done, especially when it comes to the youth, because I know that in the Northwest you have a huge population of the youth there, and what you've just mentioned is just a drop in the bucket. 2,000, you know, but you still need to do more, and I'm glad that you're doing something. But we have some questions that have come in from our viewers, which I would want to read, so that some of we would want Biodun Esiet to respond to some of these questions. This one is from Abubakar Sahad from Jalingo, Taraba State. He said, developing commissions in Nigeria are important to promote balanced development, address local needs, reduce poverty, and ensure peace and stabilities. Kudos to the government for recognizing the need for regional commissions across the country. So what are the commissions doing about the condition of roads? This one is Emmanuel Mba from Ebonyi State. This one says, government should ensure transparency in the activities of the commissions. And then this one says, the Bola Tinubu administration has shown commitment to inclusive governance through the establishment of regional development commissions. This initiative allows all regions to directly benefit from national policies. This from Chike. Chike is from Warri, Delta State. Biodun Esiet, maybe you respond to some of these questions that are, you know, related to your own zone.
Okay, thank you so much for that, and thanks to our viewers for raising those questions. It shows that they are really connected to the discussion. First, let me just add to our model, the engagement model, from what my colleagues have said. So for the North Central, we also have what we call the Citizens Assembly, just like what we have National Assembly. These are dedicated youth who are volunteered to be the change makers in their various communities. So for the 110 local governments that we have in the North Central, we make sure that we have a representative in those local governments who are members of our Citizens Assembly, and that's one of the engagement models we are using in the North Central region for us to feel the impulses of the people, and for us to also share the feedback from federal government to them to know what the federal government is doing. And since we have launched that engagement, we've been able to address a whole lot of pressing issues that is affecting our communities across the North Central region. And communities now are gaining trust. They're beginning to trust the federal government that when their concerns are raised, it will be addressed at different levels. And in addition to that, I personally go to different states and different communities of the North Central region to hold physical citizen assembly meeting, in addition to national tradition to stakeholders engagement or town hall meetings that we hold. So most of these volunteers, we have over 600 volunteers in North Central now, and each of those volunteers are connected to about 20 stakeholders in their community. And when they send reports to our office, that report contains the name of the chief in their community and the phone number of the chief, the name of all the leaders in their community, and the phone numbers, so that we can follow up with any report and verify to make sure that the reports that they're sending are truth and the fact. So that's on the engagement model that we're using. It's also important for us to also share that the Presidential Community Engagement is also going to be launching a framework which is called the National Community Engagement Framework. We've submitted the framework to the Presidency Policy Coordination Office for their review and adoption. So the framework is about citizens' engagement, it's about stakeholders' engagement, guiding the federal government on how they engage different levels of stakeholder in whatever intervention we're doing, be it development, be it policy-wise, be it engagement. We guide the federal government on how they engage the different stakeholders. So our principle is the bottom-up approach to governance, making sure that people who are affected by an issue are carried along from the beginning stage, the planning stage of any intervention we're doing for them, up to the evaluation and implementation stage. And that's what we're doing. Now back to the commissions and the questions related to the commission. The commission has just been, appointed and inaugurated last week. North Central was just the National Assembly just did the verification and also approval, and now they'll be launching by identifying some of the issues that we have in the North Central region and using the funds available to them to also provide development in those regions. And we're happy that the presidency has set up this regional commission, because what you are seeing in North Central may be different from what you're seeing in other regions. So allowing each region to direct their change, allowing each region to guide their own development based on their peculiarities and not just a blueprint of anything. And it's also aligned with what we have developed as a national community engagement framework for communities or different. Now, let me say this. Our engagement is not just narrow to a geographical location. The communities of interest, communities of associations are also part and parcel of the people we engage. Now we have farmers associations that we're engaging to share their concerns about what do they need from federal government, and also to get their feedback and also share with them the opportunities that federal government has for farmers association. We have different interest groups that we engage at different levels of intervention. Recently, all of us have just conducted community engagement in terms of community voice, in terms of the tax reform bill, to ask the community of stakeholders, revenue, taxpayers about their concerns.
All right, thank you very much, Esiet. I'm sorry we have to cut you short for a moment because we are running out of time. But let me quickly introduce here in the studio who has just joined us, Moremi Ojudu, who is Senior Special Assistant to the President on Regional Development, Southwest, right? Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Let me run you in quickly because we are running out of time. What exactly has been your finding from your engagements in the Southwest with regards to priorities and what is being done to address those?
Thank you very much, and good morning, Nigeria. Basically, I would first of all say that I'm a core Southwest person. So as a Yoruba Omoluabi girl, and interestingly, I proudly wear the fact that I'm also from the President's region. One of the core findings is, the first topmost on the list is agriculture and education. So on agriculture and education, we are working on a project. So
Go
okay.
Ahead. Go ahead.
So we're working. Our project is centered on. Because I'd like to know where to pay.
Don't worry.
Okay.
Just keep
okay. So our project is focused on education, BAT STEM. So there's this initiative called the Bola Ahmed Tinubu supports science, tech, engineering, mathematics program that we're running. So the whole idea is the Southwest is known for the hub of education, to try and see how we can inspire mentorship and growth through education. Our region has one of the best professors, one of the best, educational profound, legacies. So we're trying to do that through the community engagement, to revamp that, because many of these young people are fast becoming agents of Yahoo, cyber crime, crimes, and a lot of things. So in community engagement, we've done a lot to try to revamp that and ensure that we have less. Extremely, I can say that as are now in communities like Osun State, Ogun State, and Ekiti, we have less out of school children. So we're working with the UBEC to see how we can revamp that and ensure that people go back to the school walls. Also on agriculture, we're working with NAUDA and I think NatFund. we're trying to see how we can make clear the lands to ensure that these people have a better, land, because one of the issues in the Southwest is agricultural land clearing. So we're trying to see how lands, lots of hectares of lands can be cleared and revamp our agriculture, the cocoa, cassava, and a whole lot of agricultural crops, to see that these places, have better interventions. So also, I must also commend the Ministry of Works. We've been able to work closely with the Ministry of Works to ensure that these bridges, like the popular bridges like Carter Bridge, Third Mainland Bridge, the Marina Bridge, we go on inspection sites to this bridge to see how. And one of the things that I find interesting about our work in community engagement offices, we get to understand the mechanism behind government. We get to understand, the technicalities of government, and that makes our work very beautiful, because with understanding these things, we go back to the communities, we go back to the stakeholders of the communities, we go back to these trade unions, we go back to these market women, we go back to these, ballets, and explain the intricacies of this government. And now, one of the things about Renewed Hope Agenda is taking back development to them. So in conversing with them, in having conversations and engagements with them, we get to understand what they really need. So President Bola Ahmed Tinubu doesn't just take decisions in the office. He works on the reports of each community engager from the different regions and sees how he can merge it with the goals and the objectives of these agencies. And we have a well-fused policy guide that is tailored to each region and ensure that this development or these programs we are working on is tailored to better growth, and it's tailored to them owning these projects, and they're able to feel better and have a sense of
What's your feedback mechanism to the presidency, for instance? Because when you engage the communities in Osun, in Oyo, in Lagos, here and there, you hear from them. They tell you what they need, they tell you what their challenges are. How often do you get to feedback the presidency, and how do they use the information at the presidency for the benefit of the people?
We have a very interesting system where we have coordinators in each senatorial district of the states. So I have about 18 coordinators. So for every time there is an issue in the community, these coordinators instantly feed us on our platforms. So we have the WhatsApp platforms, we have the Telegram platforms, and also they call in and send text messages and let us know how these things, what's happening. So if there's an intervention from the government, maybe from SMEDAN, that's the SMEDAN agency. So we quickly feed in, and then we do a report around it. So if there's an intervention on a program, the NIMC now, the Nigerian Identification Management Commission.
National Emergency
Yes.
Identification.
So we also try to work on that. So we instantly write reports around that. And then the president, whenever there's FEC or other meetings that requires these MDAs to meet together, we feed them with these reports. And it's, able to get to the president.
What are some of the challenges that you have, faced while carrying out your functions?
I won't say there's been any challenge. The 6 of us are extremely passionate about our jobs, and it's synonymous to our personalities. So one of the things that I find interesting is that I'm a natural grassroots person, and I understand interpersonal human relationships. We do not go there with any airs on. We go there like the same way they look. We go there with our attires, the Iro and Buba, with our kaftans, adires. So we just go there
to identify
with them. And interestingly, they've been very, encouraging. They've been very supportive, and they relate with us like we are pals. They relate with us like stakeholders in collaboration. And the only issues we have is ensuring that the corporate industries, the corporate world, sees a way to pass their CSR, that's their corporate social responsibility, through our office, and then that will be able to boost, better productivity, and also boost better sustainable development in our region. That's the only challenge. We're trying to see how we can work better with the corporate world, and then these CSRs they have, we tailor it to the needs of our communities.
Okay, I think you have some questions.
Yeah, I do, but I wanted to take one last trip to Gift Jumble so that we run the course. Then I hope we can take
so that you can take the question because of time.
But we can take a minute with Gift Jumble. I'm trying to find out, Gift, how the issues of infrastructure I know are very much prevalent in the South, how they have been addressed so far, or if they have not, what are the plans to address them? If you can take a minute to respond to this quickly, please.
Okay, so I hear you quite all right, but when you're asking me questions, the network kind of scrambles. So you're asking me what the infrastructural gap has been so far? Is that what you're asking?
How are you helping to address the infrastructure gap in the South-South, which I know is a common issue, maybe because of the terrain of the place?
Oh, okay. So I'll first say that one of the right things that has happened in this administration is having a square peg in a square hole in the Ministry of Works. You know, the Honorable Minister Dave Umahi. Like my colleague said, we have actually been with him in the field. I remember one time we were traveling to Akwa Ibom by road from Calabar, and the trip was originally supposed to be like a 1 hour trip, you know, but we spent like 5 hours on the road, and you know, we were having stops, of course. You know, the minister was checking the progress of constructions going, doing the, I'm not an engineer, so I cannot say it like he does, but you know, taking the millimeters and the centimeters and all those stuff while we are actually plying the road. And I got to understand as a person that truly progress of a community starts with road. It starts with development of the road. If you want a community to be developed, then we have to address the road issues, right? So, excuse me, please. Yes. So what has been so far is that using the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway, that is a major project that is going to connect the entire coastal line, the entire coastal states. I mentioned the east-west road initially. You know, I applied it before and I applied it after. And I'm telling you that the progress on that road is amazing. You know, the journey of 1,000 miles, they say, begins with just one step. And we are actually in the right direction with actually bridging these infrastructural gaps. Having a minister like the Minister for Works, I call him the Minister of Works, where they work and it's a big work, you know. So I'm confident, not just as a presidential appointee, a federal appointee, but as a Nigerian and as a community person, that the infrastructural gaps we actually have in our region because of like the engineers, they call it, maybe because of the texture of our soil or the challenges will be bridged.
I'm sorry, Gift. We've run out of time completely. I gave a minute. I can guess that there's so much to talk about, and indeed from every one of you. But we've run out of time, and we may have to do this some other time again. But let me quickly take the messages that came in, which we haven't managed to read. Now, good morning. This one reads, "It is a welcome development. I pray that the aim of the commissions will come to pass." That's from Humphrey Upona Husi from Edo State. Now, those in charge of the commissions should shun corruption to enable Nigerians benefit. That's Musa Buka from Borno. And finally, regional commission is a fantastic initiative. Constituency allowances being given to our National Assembly members should be diverted to these commissions. That's from Wole. I'm sure they will vote for that, but that's where we have to leave this conversation for today.
All right. So we just want to, because of time, we just want to thank all our guests. Let me just start from Moremi Ojudu, Senior Special Assistant to the President on Community Engagement Southwest. Thank you for coming on Good Morning Nigeria.
Thank you.
Also, a big thank you to Barrister Chioma Nweze, Senior Special Assistant to the President on Community Engagement Southeast.
Thank you.
Also, we want to thank Abdullahi Tanko Yakase, Senior Special Assistant to the President of Community Engagement Northwest.
Thank you.
Also, Biodu Esiet, who joined via Zoom. Thank you, Senior Special Assistant to the President on Community Engagement North Central. And also Gift John Ball, Senior Special Assistant to the President on Community Engagement. Thank you, all of you. Thanking all of you.
You're welcome.
Okay. We thank all of you for coming on Good Morning Nigeria. We'll take a break now, and when we return, we'll discuss the Dangote fuel supply strategy, unpacking the economic and impact. Stay with us.
Our major currency unit is the Naira, while the minor unit is the Kobo. They are both in notes and coins. The Naira is more than just a medium of exchange. It bears the images of our heroes. So, stop abusing the Naira. It is a criminal offense to spray the Naira at events. Stop stepping on the Naira. It's not your enemy. Do not squeeze, ruffle, or write on the Naira. Handling the Naira with dirty or oily hands can deface the Naira. Love the Naira as you love yourself. Be a real Nigerian. Do not abuse the Naira.
The business environment, to be honest with you, has been extremely hard on most Nigerian women's businesses, and of course harsh for a number of reasons. There is no way you would increase or move subsidy and increase the price of fuel that it doesn't have the counter effect. It has been very challenging for so many women. I know that a lot of them have cried in one way or the other to us to find ways of intervening. But that is not to say that it is all doom and gloom. We will still have a few percentage of women that are thriving in this economy, but we hope that we'll be able to get a larger percentage. One of the things I've seen with even our local purchases now is that people are buying more made in Nigerian options of food, of clothing, and so on and so forth than the imported. So that again is helping some of our industries thrive. Surprisingly, the telecommunications is still doing well, and the reason is very simple. A lot of people are going for online options of skills in terms of training, communications, even remote working. And so you will see that people that provide services around those areas also thrive. But I think at the end of the day, it's about partnerships, collaboration, and influencing power from especially the private sector and even the public sector. But we really need the public sector to drive a number of things, especially policies, because the public sector has the national spread above even whatever we can do in our own small way. What has happened over the years is that even the government, for example, is being pulled from different angles by all these stakeholders. We need to harness ourselves to have strategic focus areas, and we should all be moving in the same direction, not using a competitive approach, but a collaborative approach. Secondly, in collaboration, we need to move with large clusters of decision makers. Instead of, the process of reaching out to individuals is painstakingly long and it takes time. And so we need to engage these stakeholders on a larger platform. I think it's very important to identify where you can get help in your own little way. And one of the things I've realized is that when you operate in silo, it is difficult for you to lift yourself out of the situation. Identify ways you can do what you are doing in a simpler way. And if what you are doing is no more profitable, why not find out what can you do in the meantime that will help you? You need to think outside the box and then connect. What you can do is also identify people and become a cluster to provide a service that ordinarily you cannot do alone.
All right, welcome back. This time, we're focusing on a major development in Nigeria's energy landscape, the Dangote refinery fuel supply strategy. As operations gather pace, many are asking, what does this mean for our fuel economy, pricing, and energy independence?
Well, that's right. With nationwide distribution of PMS and diesel slated to begin mid-August, using a fleet of CNG-powered tankers, the stakes are high. Today, we'll be examining both the opportunities and the risk tied to this new supply strategy.
We'll also be looking at how this could impact Nigeria's long-term energy security, domestic refining capacity, and consumer costs, not just in urban centers, but in rural communities as well.
So, is this the game changer many hope it will be, or do we need to watch for possible pitfalls around the competition, monopoly concerns, and logistics?
Well, joining us to help make sense of all of this is development economist, Professor Ken Ife. Prof, it's good to have you on Good Morning Nigeria yet again.
Thank you. Always a pleasure to be here.
So, Prof, you're welcome once again. Is this the game changer we're all hoping for?
It's not only a game changer, but it's an innovative game changer, so to say. But what is distinct about this is that this has thrown a lifeline. When you say lifeline, there's a presumption that some players in the sector are dead. Because when the petrol stations in the rural areas are no longer functioning because they can't get fuel, whatever the reasons are, and then half of the stations are struggling, then a lifeline means you are bringing a lot of them back to life. You are going to create employment, not destroy employment. But I want to tell you something that is fundamental to the Nigerian economy. The biggest challenge, I see it from a development point of view, is that it's investment, lack of investment. And this investment can come from three sources. It could come from the private sector, foreign direct foreign investors. It could come from domestic investors. And it could also come from government. What problem we have is that much of the things that you expect to come from government are borrowed money. And then there's a consequence when you borrow. Especially where that borrowing methodology doesn't quite fit into the fiscal law, which is the Fiscal Responsibility Act 2007. That has so many prescriptions, but it's a story for another day. Foreign direct investment comes in two ways. You have the FDI, or you have the portfolio investment. Portfolio comes and goes, it's hot money. But the FDI comes to stay. They take a longer term view of your economy. But domestic investment is the one we tend to ignore. And that's why if you see a company that Dangote that put $20 billion, how much foreign direct investment have we got in the last 5 years? It's less than what has been invested there. But the point is this, where you don't invest in technologies, in innovation, then that sector or subsector starts dying. It starts being uncompetitive. And then they start behaving funny. They want to form monopoly. They want to go to government for subsidy. That is actually what happens. You need to have investment. And even if you want to fight corruption, you need investment. Because you need a computer system to fight corruption. You need that, you need that. You spend money to do anything you want to do. So always be mindful that whenever anybody tells you that this sector or that sector or this, you started by saying, how can we, energy security? You cannot achieve energy security if you don't have investment. It is the investment that will create competitive business environment, and then rather than look for subsidy from government, you can now compete and sell your products abroad because you are producing good quality product at a competitive cost. So that is a big thing. So when you relate this to the top sector we are looking at, which is the fuel storage, transport, distribution, and logistics, that sector has been moribund in the sense that it hasn't been investing in that subsector. So what you see there is fueled by corruption and that kind of monopolistic behavior. Unfortunately, the big culprit is NNPC actually, because it's playing at upstream, midstream, and downstream, have his own petrol stations. I'm not sure what he's doing with those because he doesn't actually produce the fuel that they're going to sell. But then you now have this gang up of the subsector groups that we saw what they did, the fuel scandal, the subsidy scandal. Everybody saw that in the country where things were being brought in, 30 million later will come, they record it 3 times, I say 90. We saw all that, and then government was prompted to say NNPC take over all the import of that, and they understand what I mean. But it was only delivered you from the mouth of a lion into the mouth of a crocodile. So we had to face a different kind of challenge with the NNPC's monopoly, because what we saw was that it was not even just being the sole exporter, but actually using crude swap, which means it denies central bank access to that $3 billion every month by swapping, and then what comes back is a MPMS, and PMS is only one of several products you can get from the crude. But it now turns around and says to government, you are owing me under recovery. Government borrows 500 billion naira every month as subsidy. And then one of the dinosaurs in that subsidy chain was the equalization fund, which people are crying now, owing us 100 billion. But the PIA rolled off equalization fund. We are now left with the midstream and downstream component of the DFA and the people. So that is what is going on. But having said that, we needed investment in the sector, just like infrastructure. Why are we having problems with infrastructure? Because we've not been investing in infrastructure since 1970.
Okay.
And when you don't invest, our stock in infrastructure is 30% compared to South Africa that is 80%.
But now that we have investments, now that we have investments with Dangote, and it's about to roll out 4,000 trucks to do distribution of CNG, what is the broader significance for the economy?
Now, the broader significance is, what is the strategic value? What is the value added to two major clients? I mean, our two core stakeholders, 230 million Nigerians and 42 million MSMEs. Now, the significance of the MSME is this. Nigeria has 42 million MSMEs out of 90 million MSMEs in Africa. We contribute 48% of MSMEs in Africa. Our population is only 15%. Our population is only 18% of Africa. Our GDP is less than 15% of Africa, but we are punching 3 times above our weight on entrepreneurship, which means entrepreneurship is not only a competitive advantage for Nigeria, but it is one where if you can breed life and efficiency to this sector, nobody will see Nigeria's back all over the world. So that is the limiting thing holding Nigeria from taking off. So when you look at this, divide that 1.7 trillion by 230 million Nigerians, everybody gets 7,400 naira as a gain. Divide it, if the household in Nigeria is 6 people per household, that is 50 million household. Each person gets about 42,000. If you look at divided by the 42 million MSMEs, you're going to get about 40,000 naira. So there is actually a tangible thing that you can say is hitting the table, but it's much more than that. Let me tell you why it's much more than that. These companies we are talking about, at least 70% of their input cost that determines their efficiency, that determines their competitiveness, is locked down in this shenanigan. They can't. They have to. According to the research, if you look at the website of Manufacturers Association, it tells you that companies believe 77% of their energy cost is borne by them. So you are going to unlock not only the cost for running their generator, but also the cost of transporting goods. That's what you are going to unlock in the journey to make them far more efficient. And then they come. And when they produce efficiently, aggregate output goes up, GDP goes up. When you bring down the price by making it more affordable and more affordable and more accessible to Nigerian citizens, and there's a gain, then they have more disposable income. Then the aggregate consumption goes up, GDP goes up. Just by default, you've seen how this can actually shoot up the GDP. When you modulate the price, then inflation takes a hit. Is there any evidence? Of course there was an evidence. And in fact, part of this evidence is, before you go national, people will ask you, where did you pilot? Where's your pilot? There was a pilot in December. And we know what happens in December. Cyclical peak of inflation is in December. High cost of fuel is in December. Hoarding of fuel, long queues, they are all characteristics of what happens in December. So that December, they decided to pilot And they said, okay, let's try and maintain the price across the country. So price was maintained, but it cost them equalization of over 10 billion. But the effect was that for the first time, the inflation on food came down in December. It normally doesn't happen because that's when we have a cyclical peak. But it came down. And so there was an evidence that there could be an impact. And that impact is what is now going national. And the impact will be felt by every Nigerian and every business. And in fact, I called it a lifeline because those who are arguing about competition and monopoly and all of that, you are bringing them back into life.
Now, will this investment ensure stability in pricing? Because it's a major challenge for ordinary Nigerians. They want price stability. For instance, they want the same price in Abuja, the same price in Kano, the same price in my local government. So how would he ensure price stability across board?
It's ensures in two ways. One is to enforce that price across all domains, which you saw happen in December. Two is to maintain supply, because if you don't get supply, then the people are going to start behaving, they hoard whatever they have and then they inflate higher price and we don't have a choice. So that is having a steady supply, that then having a price and then being able to suck out that cost of logistics, because somebody has to bear that cost. Now, what that means, I want to tell you what it means. What the president has done is unbelievable. That is, he has religiously implemented PIA law. Religiously. And in doing that, he has transferred subsidy from the public sector to the private sector. And you are going to ask a question, but is it sustainable? What is in it for Dangote to be splashing 1.7 billion?
Yes,
no. If federal government was to do this subsidy, it will cost us at least 5 trillion. It would have cost 3 times more. That is what he's sucking out. And what he's doing is actually now going to bring down the prices, now make it more accessible, now bring efficiency in our factors of production, and in the industry that are crying. Let me give you an example that is really pathetic. There are some mission critical industries or services that cannot afford to continue under the current dispensation. You have the airports. How many times have you been sitting on the lounge and then they take off light? The airport should have 24/7 lighting. They shouldn't have one. How many times have you seen people in operation theater and the light goes off in the hospital? The hospitals are mission critical. Then you look at telecom. Thousands of base stations all over, and each one of them have 2 generators backing up, and they can't get fuel. When they get them, they pay through their nose, and you think they won't transfer the price to you. And we are fighting over their price. But that is a major factor. And then you cannot afford not to continue your call. This continuation on your call is going on every time. How about the banks? You use their system. Transferring money, they have to have light 24/7. That's the banking sector. So therefore, these sectors need get assurance. They need steady supply. They need prices managed down. And then that's for them to grow, for our costs to come down. Our costs cannot come down if you don't address these issues, the nairas and kobos involved in these issues. Prices will never come down.
Okay, what opportunities or challenges other players, in the industry are likely to face in the light of this Dangote investment, and how can they key into it and benefit?
Absolutely. The key to keying in is that what I saw from his offer is just to extend he's not interfering on the the upstream, midstream, and downstream. That company is in the midstream. He hasn't said, okay, I'm going to take over some retail stations and then they will see it as being monopolistic. But all he's doing is what he's entitled to do. I want to deliver my product to the point of need. So he's just delivering his product. Look, there are 3 ways you can actually deliver this product. The most efficient is pipeline, where we have 24 stations, but the pipelines are not working. So he can't use, and it's not owned by him, it's owned by NNPC. So he can't even use that unless. Number 2 is to use train. Train is the cheapest, most effective way of bulk goods. But that's, again, problem with train. And we don't have this. The last time we seriously invested in rail was in 1927. But anyway, then the next one left for you is to go by road. Now, we can't use inland waterways because it doesn't reach everywhere. So using the road brings another challenge, environmental sustainability. And thank goodness, our commitment to carbon decarbonization is using a transition fuel, which is gas, for the next 30 years. And we have gas. We are flaring 18% of world gas, flaring. So now, but our president has done what he could with the resources available to him. He could have done more. World Bank told us that NNPC trapped 50% of that subsidy. So whatever was left to the president, he just had to satisfy the governors by doubling their FAC and then puts on CNG initiative, and then the little one left, he gave 2 million fertilizer bags to farmers and then palliative. He didn't have enough money. If he had 100% of that subsidy, he would have done more. And so you see that CNG initiative, as good as it is, he needed investors to come in. It's not a foreign investor that will invest there. Domestic investors. So that is a huge leap on that program to make sure that you have the infrastructure, distribution infrastructure to distribute the CNG. So that's why doing 100 of these things I committed to that.
So in your opinion, Prof, is this a threat to existing marketers or an opportunity?
It is an opportunity.
Is it an opportunity to restructure the downstream sector? Some say it's an attempt at monopoly.
Oh, goodness me. I've told you how you define monopoly. You look at competitiveness. You have to compete. If you don't compete, then what happens is that you are ripe for takeover. Somebody's going to take you over because you are competing. You are not competing. You are going to be there. And when you are not competing, you are not investing, and you are not innovating, what you are now looking for is strange behaviors, monopolistic behavior. You run to government. You fraud. All of these things are things that have kept the citizens and the businesses down. Just what have kept them. So what has happened is that the nature of the intervention is what I'm going to describe. The nature of the intervention is, I want to settle this supply chain. I want to invest in this infrastructure. I want to deliver this to the last mile. I want to do this, I want to do that. Is he being selective? He didn't say so. He didn't say to you, you cannot use your tanker to come to my gantry to take fuel. He didn't say nobody will come. If you go and do it, and then you count your costs, and if it is cheaper for you to use the one that will come to you, then you make your decision. He didn't. Secondly, is he trying to muzzle out all these retailers and take over? That's not the objective. Mm-hmm. The objective is, let me show you. If you look at the stack, 840 naira per liter. Who is getting what in that 840 naira per liter? You have the people who prospected for the oil and exploiting. You have the people who drilled to bring out the crude. Mm-hmm. You have the transportation of that crude to the factory refinery, which could be by shipping it or by using pipeline or whatever. Yep. Then you have the refiner. Now, all these people are sharing this 840 naira. But then what happens? The middlemen and the pump are grabbing 1,200 naira. Let's just look at the difference. The people that have invested $20 billion and invested so much more, $5 billion.
Okay, Prof.
So all those people are struggling for pennies.
Prof.
While one big mouth is taking almost 40%.
Okay, Prof. Because of time, just before you go, just tell us how other players can actually key into this initiative in just 1 minute, because our time is up.
Right. The offer is for groups and companies and professionals to register for yourself, and they are voting with their feet, and that is really good news. They are voting with their feet.
Okay.
Then the two is that it doesn't discriminate. It doesn't stop the status quo, but it just offers a lifeline. It offers another business opportunity. So those who are interested are actually responding very positively. And then looking into the future, the question will be, what else can we do to improve the thing? Because everybody will benefit. Those existing in the business gets more assurance of supply. Otherwise, the alternative is what we are having. Importing 200 million liters of adulterated products and then fighting, looking for who will equalize and give you free transport. It's not going to happen. With the current NNPC structure, it's not going to happen. So you are still feeding people with poor quality fuel, 5 times more sulfur, destroying That's what is going on, and that's the status quo.
All right. Professor Ken Ife, development economist, we thank you very much for your time on Good Morning Nigeria.
Thank you.
And we hope to see you again soon.
Thank you.
Well, that's been the program. We thank you very much for watching. I'm Victor, as well. See you next time.
And I'm Ademola Adeoye. Thanks for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your day.